Hello, I'm Peter Stewart. I've been a voice trainer for the BBC and was trained myself in recent years by the prestigious Central School of Speech and Drama in London. It's where an awful lot of really famous British actors have gone and have been trained for their Hollywood movies and their West End appearances, and also regional stage and TV shows and all sorts of things as well. And they have taught me an awful lot, some fantastic courses going on there. So if you're within easy reach of London, actually they're doing so many online webinars and Zoom courses at the moment, it really is worth checking them out. The prestigious Central School of Speech and Drama in London. Hello, I'm Peter Stewart, talking about pronunciation at the moment, and you can actually, of course, look up a pronunciation of a difficult word online if you use a reliable online source. There are also books as well. The Oxford BBC Guide to Pronunciation is available as well. It's a little dated at the moment, but of course a lot of pronunciations don't change for people and for places, but obviously new people have come into the public's consciousness and new terms and phrases are being used now and new things being invented, of course. I work for the BBC, that you may have realised that by now. I work for the BBC, and the corporation has its own pronunciation unit, and their staff are spot on. They're brilliant. I love phoning them up, as you might imagine. You know, with a drop of a hat, oh yeah, I'll just look that up, just make sure that I've got that correct for my news bulletin. And their staff are on hand, not 24 hours a day, but certainly 9 to 5, to answer questions, especially on newly emerging names. So someone that comes into the news who hasn't been around before, either locally or nationally, internationally, and you can phone up the pronunciation unit and ask them how you should be saying that particular name. It could be a foreign politician who's suddenly in the news. The experts are able to quickly carry out brief research of that person, because they don't necessarily know off the top of their head. They may well do, because obviously they're a few steps ahead of what's happening. They're keeping an eye on the news and so on, and people coming through through the news. Or it could be a foreign city that you personally have never come across before, but they will know. And what they do is fascinating. They will carry out research on that person, their country of origin, and language that they speak, because what they're doing is they're trying to find the root of their name, the provenance of it, where it's likely to have come from through their family, and also see whether that person has ever explained how they prefer their name to be pronounced. So, for example, let me give you this example of someone's name I've just made up. So I'm going to spell it to you, because obviously if I say it, first of all, then you're going to hear my pronunciation rather than any other. But if you've got a pen and paper to hand, you may want to write this down. Okay, first name, J-O-S-E. J-O-S-E. How would you pronounce that person's first name? J-O-S-E. Could be Joe's. Could be Josie. Could be jo-zay. It could be Jose. Yeah, so it's 3 or 4 different ways just to pronounce that first name. And then their second name is spelt like this: S-M-Y-T-H. S-M-Y-T-H. How would you say that? Could be Smythe, could be Smyth, could be Smythe, couldn't it? With a soft th rather than a z-y one at the end, Smythe. Yeah. So we got, if you have that first name and that second name with 3 or 4 variations on each one, you've got quite a lot of combinations going on there, from Jose Smyth to Jose Smythe, and all sorts of other combinations as well. But if, when you work for the BBC, you phone the unit, the pronunciation unit, they call their colleagues around the BBC World, for example, and the reporters around the world, much more likely perhaps to have come across this person's name before. They'll find out, they'll do their research, and then they phone you back and pronounce the name down the phone to you, as well as sending you a written guide for future reference as well. And a lot of these names are also online internally for BBC staff, so you can look up, you can see the pronunciation, how it's written down, and also you can press a little button and hear an automated voice read back a recording of how you should be saying that particular name of a person, place or thing. Tomorrow we're going to be looking at pronouncing foreign words, and then we're going to be looking at local and regional pronunciations with a few fun examples there. Oh, also, I've got the BBC's official pronunciation test to bring you in a few days' time. We're going to be looking at more about pronouncing people's names, ways to make a word easier to say. We're going to have a little kind of sidebar on word blindness as well, which is quite fun. And then we're going to round it all off round off this this particular section, how to say things like acronyms and dates and numbers and scores of different sports, because they can be an absolute nightmare, can't they? If you come across a sport, someone else has written a sports... I'm going to spoil it for you. I don't want to do that. So keep listening to Get a Better Broadcast, podcast and video voice from London. I'm Peter Stewart.